I want you to imagine something with me. It's late at night. Your head hits the pillow, and the world finally goes quiet. The house is still. The noise of your thoughts grows louder. And in that quiet, I want you to understand something. The most powerful battles often happen when no one is watching. For years, I was on the other side. I worked in the occult. I saw how the spiritual realm operates, how subtle forces shape lives, block blessings, and quietly manipulate outcomes. And I also learned the secrets of breaking those chains. The most shocking one: it doesn't require elaborate rituals, expensive objects, or hours of prayer. Sometimes it comes down to a single word spoken at the right moment. When I first discovered this, I didn't believe it. One word. Really, I was trained to cast complex spells, to read energy, to control outcomes with precise incantations. And yet, one simple word, spoken intentionally before sleep, could shift spiritual atmospheres in ways I had never seen before. I've watched finances open up, relationships stabilize, health improve, and peace flood homes, all because someone took the time to say this word before they drifted off into rest. The trick is not in just saying it, it's in saying it with authority. The darkness listens to intention. It cannot resist clarity and decisiveness. And here's the thing: this word works even if you feel unworthy, even if you've struggled for years, even if your life seems stuck. Why? Because it bypasses emotion and goes straight to spiritual alignment. Tonight, I'm going to reveal that word. But I need you to prepare, not just mentally, but spiritually. Clear your mind, focus your heart, and decide that you want change. This isn't a game. This isn't superstition. It's a spiritual law. And once you understand it, it has the power to shift everything while you sleep. By the end of this video, you will know the one word that carries authority over darkness, invites blessing into your life, and positions you for miracles that feel impossible. And I promise you this: the moment you speak it, things begin to move, but only if you do it correctly. Stay with me. What I'm about to share is something very few people ever learn, even in the deliverance or spiritual warfare world. And tonight, it could change your life forever. There's a reason this word works before sleep, and it's something I learned the hard way when I was still deep in the occult. Nighttime is not just the end of your day, it's a transition point. Spiritually speaking, it's when your conscious defenses lower and your subconscious opens wide. That's why dreams carry messages, why anxiety creeps in after midnight, and why many spiritual attacks happen when people are resting. In the occult world, we understood this clearly. We waited for people to sleep because the mind is quieter, the will is softer, and the soul is more receptive. Whatever is spoken, believed, or agreed with at night sinks deeper. That's also why what you say before sleep matters more than what you say all day. Most people unknowingly give permission to fear, stress, and darkness at night. They replay problems. They speak defeat in their thoughts. They fall asleep agreeing with lack, sickness, or delay. And agreement is everything in the spiritual realm. Darkness doesn't need to overpower you. It only needs your consent. This is where the one word comes in. When spoken before sleep, this word acts like a spiritual seal. It closes doors that were opened through worry. It cancels agreements made through exhaustion. It shifts authority back where it belongs. I've seen witches try to attack people spiritually at night and fail. Not because those people prayed long prayers, but because they ended their day with the right word spoken with conviction. And here's what shocked me most. This word works even when you don't fully understand why. Spiritual law responds to authority, not perfection. You don't need to feel powerful. You don't need to be strong in faith. You just need to speak it intentionally, knowing you are not surrendering your night to chaos. Think of it like locking your door. You don't stand there afraid all night wondering if someone will break in. You lock it and you rest. This word does the same thing. It locks your spirit before you sleep. In the next chapter, I'm going to explain why darkness reacts so strongly to this word and why it creates instant resistance in the spiritual realm. This is where most people finally understand why simple faith can overpower complex witchcraft. Stay with me. We're getting close to the heart of it. What most people don't realize is that the spiritual realm responds faster than the physical one. There is no delay, no processing time, no confusion. When authority is spoken, it is recognized instantly. And this is exactly why this one word causes such a violent reaction from darkness. When I was involved in witchcraft, we were taught to listen, not with ears, but spiritually. Certain words created resistance. Certain names shut things down. Certain declarations made assignments fail before they even started. And this word was one of them. It didn't just block attacks, it exposed authority. Darkness does not fear noise. It does not fear long speeches. It does not fear emotional prayers. What it fears is position. This word declares position. It announces who you belong to, who you stand under, and who has the final say over your life, especially while you sleep. That's why attacks often intensify right before someone learns this truth. Confusion increases. Sleep becomes restless. Dreams become chaotic. It's not random, it's resistance. The moment you're about to step into authority, opposition tries to rush in and exhaust you first. Here's something few people will ever tell you. Darkness operates on permission, not power. It cannot cross lines that have been clearly drawn. When this word is spoken before sleep, it draws a line that cannot be crossed. No negotiation, no delay, no loopholes. I watched rituals fail because someone miles away whispered this word before bed. unaware of what was planned against them. That's when I started questioning everything I had been taught. If darkness was supposedly so powerful, why did it retreat so quickly? The answer was simple and terrifying to the occult world. True authority doesn't need effort. This word is not magic. It's not a charm. It doesn't work because of sound. It works because of alignment. When you speak it, you are aligning your rest, your mind, and your spirit under protection that doesn't sleep, doesn't weaken, and doesn't forget. And once alignment happens, darkness has only one option: withdraw. In the next chapter, I'll explain why so many people struggle with sleep, anxiety, and repeated bad dreams, and how they unknowingly open doors at night without realizing it. This is where things start making sense for a lot of people. Stay with me. What's coming next explains years of confusion for many. Most people assume spiritual attacks only happen when someone is doing something wrong. That's not true. In reality, many doors are opened at night by unawareness, not rebellion. And this is why sleep becomes the most targeted moment. When I was in the occult, nighttime was never random. Between midnight and the early morning hours, defenses drop. The body rests, but the mind drifts. Thoughts loosen. Emotions surface. This is when access becomes easiest, not because someone is weak, but because they are unguarded. One of the biggest mistakes people make before sleep is replaying fear, stress, anger, or unresolved conversations in their mind. That inner dialogue becomes an invitation. Darkness feeds on unresolved emotion. It doesn't need your belief, it only needs your focus. Another door is exhaustion. When someone is mentally drained, spiritually discouraged, or emotionally overwhelmed, protection thins. This is why attacks often come after long days, arguments, financial stress, or bad news. Not because those things are evil, but because they leave cracks. Dreams are not always messages. Sometimes they are tests. If fear is allowed to stay after waking, permission quietly extends. That's how cycles begin: the same dream, the same anxiety, the same heaviness night after night. People think it's psychological, but patterns are rarely accidental. Here's something we used to rely on in witchcraft: silence before sleep. If a person goes to bed without declaring anything, without covering their rest, without aligning themselves spiritually, the night becomes neutral territory. And neutral territory is easy to enter. That's why this word before sleep matters so much. It closes what emotions open. It seals what exhaustion loosens. It interrupts what silence allows. I've seen people change nothing in their daily routine. Same job, same stress, same environment. But once they guarded their night, everything shifted. Sleep became deeper. Dreams lost intensity. Anxiety weakened because the door was no longer open. In the next chapter, I'm going to explain why this word must be spoken aloud and why thinking it is not the same thing. This part makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but it's critical. Don't stop here. The next truth connects everything you've experienced at night. This is where many people hesitate. They think, God knows my heart, isn't thinking it enough. I used to believe that too, until I learned how the spiritual realm actually responds. In the occult, spoken words were everything. Thoughts created pressure, but words created permission. Silence kept things neutral. Speech finalized access. That's why chants, vows, and declarations were never silent. Sound carries authority. It marks territory. The same principle works in reverse. When you speak a word aloud before sleep, you are not informing God. You are establishing alignment. You are declaring jurisdiction over your rest. Darkness does not respond to intention alone, it responds to authority. And authority is released through voice. I watched this pattern over and over. People who prayed silently stayed tormented. People who whispered one word with conviction disrupted entire cycles. Not because the word was magical, but because it was spoken with alignment. Nighttime thrives on passivity. Your body is still. Your environment is quiet. Your defenses are low. Speaking breaks that stillness. It announces that the night is not empty, it is claimed. This is why attacks often try to silence people first. Fear makes you mute. Shame keeps you quiet. Fatigue convinces you it doesn't matter. But silence is never neutral in the spiritual realm. Silence hands over ground. When you say this word aloud, something immediate happens. The atmosphere shifts. The mind settles. The body exhales. Even if you don't feel anything dramatic, resistance is created. Barriers don't always make noise, but they work. I've seen people say it once and sleep peacefully for the first time in months. I've seen recurring dreams stop instantly. I've seen night anxiety lose its grip, not because life suddenly became easy, but because access was denied. And here's the key detail most people miss. This word must be said last. Not after scrolling, not after worrying, not after replaying the day. It must be the final declaration before rest. Whatever you speak last is what your night agrees with. In the next chapter, I'll explain what happens when you forget to say it and why skipping just one night can reopen patterns. This is where consistency becomes protection. Stay with me. This is where everything locks into place.